Good morning and welcome to the Petitti Pro Garden Show. Thank you all so much for getting up early and being with us. We have had a crazy different types of weather this week, and we're in for a nice warm weekend. So we have a lot of things that's been going on in the gardens and in the landscapes because of this crazy weather. And we're going to talk all about that and what's going on around the shop and around town this weekend. And so go ahead and get your cup of coffee. We're going to open in a word of prayer, and then we will get on the way so that we can answer all of your questions. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come before you, just thanking you and praising you for your goodness. Father, we just ask you to bless the show, bless all the listeners, and just use my words to glorify your name. Father, we just ask for your grace, and we thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy, and we just give you all the praise and all the glory in Jesus' name. So have your coffee, get your notepads out, because we're going to give you a lot of information about things that's going on and things that we can do to help control some of our issues. So first of all, we want to let you know how to get your questions answered. If you have questions that you would like me to answer for you, we'll answer them on the show. But of course, we'll answer them immediately for you if you contact us. So first off, you can call us with your questions at 330-455-5997. You can fax us your questions at 330-455-5998. You can email me your questions along with a photo, which is always good, at cindypetitti@gmail.com. That's CINDYPETITTI@gmail.com. But better yet, and best way of all, is to come into the store. Bring us your question. Bring us a leaf, bring us a branch, bring us a twig, bring us the bug in a Ziploc baggie, the diseased looking whatever in a Ziploc baggie, and we'll try to get that answered for you. You can do that at 5828 Columbus Road. We're on the corner of Broadway and Columbus Road in Nimishillen Township. We do have a Louisville address. The zip is 44641 if you're putting it into your GPS. And it's a great way to get your questions answered and be able to have a product to walk out the door with that's going to fix it. So that's always a good way. If I am not there by chance, happen to be out on a delivery or something like that, or at a consultation, which we do. If you need us to come to your home, we do consultations as well. But Sarah's there. She usually can answer. She's been with us for 6 seasons now. And so she can usually answer the questions. But if she can't, she will keep your leaf, keep your branch, and I will take a peek at it when I get back and give you a call back with the answer that you might need. But most of the time, I am there ready to answer your questions. So today is the first Louisville Farmers Market. Their farmers markets are the second Saturday of each month. And today is their first one. I will be there starting at 9 o'clock and until noon, answering questions, having some product, supporting the local farmers market, and, of course, the Rotary that puts on the farmers market in Louisville. If you are in the Louisville area listening, also don't forget that the Louisville Rotary has the flag program. And if you don't have a flag in your front yard, for a mere $30 a year, we will bring a flag, post it in your yard for holidays. So we do one for Memorial Day, Flag Day, 4th of July. We do it for Labor Day through Constitution Week, and we also do it for Veterans Day. So for $30 a year, you're going to have a flag in your front yard waving proudly for $30 a year. So what better way to do that? And you can call our store at 330-455-5997 to get more information on how to do that. I am a proud Rotarian, and I have a flag route. So I might even be putting your flag out for you. So How about that? Also, next week, the Canton Farmers Market is getting underway, as well as the Alliance Farmers Market. So that's another market that you'll want to attend, the Canton Farmers Market. Next week, I will be there also from 8 a.m. for about 8:30 a.m. till 11:30 a.m. That market runs from 8 to 11:30. So I will be at that market as well, answering your gardening questions. And it is a fabulous market, always entertainment, lots and lots of vendors. And that's right behind the Old Timken High School. So you want to make sure that you're attending local farmers market. Plain market is on Wednesday night. There's flea markets all over the place now. They're all getting rolling. And so make sure, if you want to know your food, you got to know your farmer if you're not growing your own. So it's very important to build that relationship and to support your local economy by buying local. And you're not going to have any fresher produce, any fresher meat, any fresher baked goods than you're going to get than buying from your local farmers market. I can't say enough about farmers market and how important they are to our economy. And to, I feel like, the health of your family, because you are getting a great product at a great price, a very fair price, and it's coming right from practically your own backyard. So we think that it's a great way to do it. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started and answer some of the questions that you had this week, and then we'll tell you about the specials that we have going on as well. So the first question was, I cut down some trees a couple years ago, and now I have these funny looking shoots or weeds shooting out from where the tree used to be. And they didn't know why, and they didn't know exactly what it was. So if you cut down a tree right at grade and you do not grind out the stump, that plant is not, even though there's no foliage, there's no photosynthesis going on, the root system has not died yet. And very oftentimes you will have what we call as suckers shoot off of the rooting system off to the side, or really at the base of the plant where it was cut off at. You will have these shoots come off. Like I said, we call them suckers in our industry, and there are things that you can do for them. You can, first of all, the most probably organic way to get rid of them is to grind out the stump. You won't have an issue with it anymore. Or you can just continue to cut them off with a pair of hand pruners. Don't let them get too large, because if you let them get large, they will get woody, and it'll be like you have a shrub where the tree used to be, but it will not do anything that the tree did. So if it was a flowering tree, the suckers do not flower. If it was a fruit-bearing tree, the suckers are not going to bear fruit. So you have to realize that, and you probably want to get rid of them because it's not going to look appealing. There is product that is not organic that you can get and put over that stump and around the root system so that you don't get those. It's called Sucker Stop. That product can also be used on living trees at the base of it so that you don't get the suckers as well. So several times we battle with this, but there are some ways that you can control it. But the tree is never going to grow anything new. It's going to be some form of that tree. If it was a hybrid tree, if it was something from a grafted cutting from another tree, it might revert back to the original plant. So you want to make sure that you're not expecting something else. It's not going to be something that is going to be desirable, so you're probably going to want to go ahead and cut it off. The next question that we had was about strawberries. Every year, this customer says that their strawberries get some rust, and they were wondering what the best organic fungicide to control the rust. His question was, because I have said if you have rust in your lawn, you really don't need to do anything but put an additional application of your milorganite down. The additional nitrogen will usually push the rust out of the grass. And that is true with grass. On your strawberries, it's a different case. Rust is a disease issue on strawberries that should be treated. And sulfur is going to be your go-to for that. Instead of the copper that we use on so many other things, the sulfur we use on our grapes, it's also wonderful for rust on your strawberries. So if you do find that you battle with rust on your strawberries, this year with a lot of moisture, a lot of people are battling with some rust. Even though we've had good harvest, we have had some rust issues. So you might want to go ahead and do an application of the sulfur to control that. And since we're on the topic of our berries here, let's jump to grapes. The same customer has been spraying his grapes. He said he still did notice a couple little dots on his leaves. In this case, you still want to, it's not like, oh, it's so far gone, I should just stop and give up. No, if you only have a couple spots and you have been treating, you still go ahead and keep treating. About every 2 weeks to 3 weeks, somewhere in that span. If we're having a lot of rain, make sure you're going with the 2 weeks and spray consistently for your grapes. And if you haven't heard us talk about grape issues in the past, if your grapes for years or even the past couple years seem like they look like they're going to be nice, you have a few spots on your leaves, but it didn't look like anything bad. The grapes come out, they're green, they're pretty, and then all of a sudden they look like little hardened raisins. That is a disease that grapes get, and we have to watch that. But it's going to be best if you spray on a consistent basis with the sulfur, and then keep up with it until just about the time of harvest. And then you should be able to have some grapes. But you do want to start immediately after your grapes leaf out for best results. That's when you're going to have your best control by doing a preventative and not letting that get out of hand for you. And that, again, like I said, is the sulfur that's going to work best for you. The next question that we had, Cindy wanted to know, and not me, Cindy, another Cindy, if a Canadian hemlock was the only needled evergreen that she could use in the shade. She knew arborvitaes, they like the sun. Dwarf Alberta spruce, they like the sun. You can use the yew or the taxus in the shade. You're never going to get a taxus to have the size that a hemlock is going to get for you. So if you're looking for something that's going to get 15, 20 feet tall, yes, hemlock is really your only needled evergreen that is going to withstand the shade. If you need shrubbery, of course, the taxus is going to be your go-to for a needled evergreen that does well in the shade. But for a larger evergreen tree, yes, the Canadian hemlock is the only one. And also remember that a dense shade, if it is completely underneath the canopy of multiple layers of maple trees or a pine tree forest, remember, nothing is going to flourish in there well as a tree. Dogwoods will do somewhat all right, but everything likes a little bit of sun that gets some size to it. So remember that. It might be a good idea to pay a good tree trimmer to thin out some of your trees so that you will get some filtered light in, and you're going to be able to have much more choices with your plant material selection if you do get a little bit of sunlight. Your ferns and your hostas are going to do fine, but that's something that's going to be much smaller for you in respect to if having something with some size. There are a few wild things like the mayapple that does very well in a forest. Not many people think it's the most desirable as a landscape plant, though. So if you can let a good tree trimmer come in, trim your trees, not top them, but trim them so that you will get some filtered light, and you will see an amazing difference in that and how much better they do. We'll tell you about some of the specials that we have going on right now. We have started here in June having a vegetable of the week. And this week's vegetable is the beefsteak tomato. And the beefsteak tomato is a tomato that is a nice beefy tomato. It's a large tomato, nice and juicy, and it has just some wonderful, wonderful aspects about it. It cans well, it slices well, has a nice taste to it, a little bit of acidity, but not terribly acidic. But a very nice tasting tomato. A beefsteak is probably our best seller, and a lot of people really like it. There are a couple hybrids that are called something slightly different, but most beefsteaks are an heirloom. The mortgage lifter is one of the heirloom varieties. So if you see some of these names and you're not sure what type of tomato they are, the mortgage lifter is a beefsteak heirloom. The big beef, another one. The beef master. All of these are different varieties of the beefsteak tomato. And a fabulous tomato. And so what we do, what we're going to be doing with our vegetable of the week, we're going to have it on sale. So our 3 packs normally sell for $2.59. So you'll get 3 tomatoes, 3 peppers for the $2.59. For the vegetable of the week, what we're going to be doing is running it for $1 for a pack. So really, it's you're going to get 3 plants for $1. So it's a great deal. It's something that we're really encouraging people take a chance on $1 to try a vegetable. Very easy to grow in a pot. Really, any tomato grows well in a pot. The beefsteak is like that, does well in a pot, but you're going to want a nice size pot. You're not going to want to grow it in a 6-inch pot. You're going to want something more like a 14-inch pot, 18-inch pot. They're going to do well. The beefsteak plant itself has some substantial size to it, so you will want a cage or at least a tomato stake to tie it up so that it stands up well for you. And it's going to be a great, if you ever made a tomato sandwich, that beefsteak tomato is a great one to use because it's going to fill the full slice of bread. So the beefsteak tomato is our vegetable of the week on sale for $1 for that pack. Also, we have some flats on sale, and those are the portulaca. It's not the plant of the week or anything, but the portulaca are on sale this week. And so if you don't know what portulaca is, it's like a succulent. So succulents are very popular right now. Everybody's doing succulents, but this is one that's for the outside. You're going to plant it in the ground, but doesn't need a lot of water. So we find that people that vacation a lot in the summertime, or they camp a lot in the summertime, this is great for them. Or if you have 2 homes and you're going back and forth and you spend a week or so away from your home, and so that you have plants that you want to look nice, but you don't have somebody to water them constantly. Portulaca is a great plant, does well in pots, does well in the ground, but does very well with dry soil. This is also a plant that I have found does wonderful at the cemetery, because a lot of plants at the cemetery doesn't get a lot of attention. So if you do planting at the cemetery, the portulaca is another one that's going to do wonderful for you at the cemetery, because it doesn't need a lot of attention and it doesn't need a lot of work. So that's one of those ones that you're going to want to remember about. Remember, if you have questions that you would like someone to answer, you can give us a call at 330-455-5997. You can fax us your questions with a photo if you want at 330-455-5998. You can email me your questions at Cindy Petitti, that's CindyPetti @gmail.com. Or better yet, bring your questions to the store with a sample so we can look at it. That's always going to be best. At 5828 Columbus Road, right on the corner of Columbus Road and Broadway in Nimishillen Township. And we will be able to answer those questions for you. So the next question that we have was from Tony. And Tony is having some issues with his cucumber plants. And what is happening, he planted his whole garden, and then he went out to check on everything, see how his weeds were doing, and he had plants missing. He had cucumber plants missing, and he also had some pepper plants missing. So he wasn't sure exactly what had happened. So a lot of people have this issue. You plant your garden, and 3 or 4 days later, you go out and you are checking your garden, and you have plants missing or the tops are gone. So a lot of little ground moles, chipmunks, these little guys, they will literally dig up your plant. Squirrels do this also. They will dig up your plant, eat the seed oftentimes. Sometimes even birds will bite off the top of your pepper plants to see if it's tasty or not. So these kind of things do happen. It's not like, the neighbor kids came and just was playing a trick on you. So nature happens. And so a lot of times what you need to do is just go plant another seed if it's something that you seeded, or go to your local garden center and buy another plant so that you can get it in the ground. The quicker you can do this, the better, so that you have consistency in your crop. For ways for this not to happen, if you plant a huge garden, this is not always practical. But if you don't have an enormous garden, I have some friends that do this. They save plastic bottles that they buy juice in. If you buy grape juice or different types of orange juice, things like that. And they keep the container, they cut off the top, and they put this little container around each individual plant until they get a little bit of size to them, and then they just cut them off and recycle them. But this little cage type effect will really help keep things from bothering any of your plants, really. But you can work them into the ground an inch or so, and then they come up and they are just past the top of the plant. And it really helps until that plant gets established and gets a little bit of size to them. You never notice these kind of things happening once the plant starts growing in the ground and you get a little bit of size to them. They're not tender any longer, and the animals will usually leave them alone. But if you are battling with this during your first couple weeks of the garden going in, a lot of people will have this issue. If you have issues with chipmunks or squirrels digging up your seeds, there are a couple things that you can do about that as well. If you're planting, let's say, green bean seeds or corn seeds or even cucumber or zucchini seeds, a lot of times the chipmunks especially seem to go around and they will dig them up. You can encompass your seed with a little bit of eggshells, or there are products that Espoma has called a soil perfector that you can get and encompass your seeds in those a little bit, and that will really help deter the animals from digging up your seeds and eating them before they have a chance to sprout. Eggshells work very well. If you haven't done it in the past, it's going to be hard enough to get enough eggshells right now. But what a lot of people do over the year, instead of putting their eggshells in their regular compost pile, they will save their eggshells throughout the year, keep them in a bucket, and then when they go to plant their seeds, they put the seed in the ground, next to the soil, but then they, put a half a handful of the eggshells over top before they backfill, and that keeps, because it's sharp, and it will keep the little guys from digging through it because it will be sharp on their face and they don't like that. And so it works out very, very well. Also, it does add calcium to the soil. So if it is some of your viners that you're doing this way, they need that additional calcium anyhow. So it's going to break down in the soil and it's going to put the calcium back into the soil. So it's not something that you're going to have to battle with year after year. So we are going to wrap up the show with some more information. Don't forget, Farmers Market today in Louisville. If you don't have anything to do, if none of the markets that you have been attending has started yet, Louisville has a great farmers market going on this morning from 9 to noon. Next Saturday, the Canton market, the Alliance market, is starting, and they run from 8 o'clock till 11:30 in Canton. 8 to noon in Alliance. Also, don't forget next Saturday, Habitat for Humanity's 500th build is going on, and you need to get a hold of them to let them know that you would like to participate and be active in that that 500th build right here in Stark County. So make sure you get a hold of them. I don't know how many of you went out last weekend for their big sale, but it was great. As soon as I closed the store, I ran down and got some great deals. I got the greatest crate. It was amazing, built right there, and a fabulous cutting board. So you got to check out the Restore, Habitat Restore on Raft Road. Just a wonderful place to shop. You need to go down there. So great place. But don't forget about next Saturday. Also, next Saturday or next weekend is Father's Day weekend. We are going to be running some great specials for dads and free giveaways to dads on the 17th and the 18th. So make sure you follow us on Facebook and watch our Facebook page for all the updates going on and all the sales that we have going on as well. So we want to make sure that you always check that out. All right. So if you have questions, 330-455-5997 is our phone number, or stop out at the store at 5828 Columbus Road, right on the corner of Columbus Road and Broadway. We want to thank all of you so much for getting up early and listening to us. And don't forget to check us out on Wednesday nights this month at 7 o'clock on Time Warner Cable, Channel 15, Spectrum, Channel 15 at 7 o'clock on Wednesday evenings. We are going to be on the Healthy and Happy Show, and we are talking about organic gardening. So check us out on that. And if you're on Maslin Cable, it is Channel 21, same times. Thank you all so much, and have a blessed week.